Hi everyone, so in this video we are going to be talking about weak entity types in detail. Although we defined weak entity types in the previous videos, but now we'll be looking at it in detail. So what is a weak entity type? A weak entity type is the one that does not have key attributes of its own. Alright, so what is the consequence of not having key attribute? The entities in a weak entity type cannot be recognized uniquely. Alright, so let me write it again. Weak entity type. That do not have key attributes of their own. So in order to take an example, let us say we have a dependence entity type and the attributes that further describe the dependent entity type are name, relationship and birth rate. And the dependence entity type stores the information about the dependence of an employee, right? So now let us see dependence entity type. Alright, so this attributes are name, relationship and birth rate. So this stores the information about the dependence of an employee. Now let us say we have a dependent whose name is A, relationship is brother, let us say, and birth date is 3 Jan 96, right? And also we have another entity who has the same name, values for name, relationship and birth date. Now when we have two entities who have the same values for all the attributes, then we cannot differentiate them, right? So the uniqueness constraint gets violated. We are unable to uniquely identify each entity of the entity type. So in order to solve this problem, what we do is we just relate this dependence entity type to some other entity type via a relationship type, so that we are able to uniquely identify each entity of the dependent entity type. And the entity to which we relate this dependent entity type is called as a owner entity type or identifying entity type, and the relation through which we do it is called as a identifying relationship. Okay, so let us see. Employee has dependents. Okay, so let us say an employee with SSN number 101 or social security number 101 has dependent A. Alright, and employee 103 has a dependent this one. Okay, so now this entity can be uniquely recognized if I say 101A. Now in order to identify each entity uniquely, we have to use one attribute or one or more attributes from the identifying or the owner entity type. Alright, so from the owner entity type, maybe let us say we have used SSN of the employee. So now in order to identify this entity, what all we have to specify? 101A brother 3 Jan 96 in worst case. Alright, if this is also related to the same, then what happens? The same employee has the same brother whose name is same and date of birth is same, which is not possible, right? Or this is redundant. So what will happen is these two entities have to be related to different entities of the employee entity type, so we can identify these two entities uniquely by specifying the SSN of the employee number. So what have we done? Let me summarize it again. Now in order to identify each entity of the weak entity type uniquely, we relate it to specific entities of some other entity type by relating it to that entity type. So we have related dependence entity type via the relationship has to the employee entity type. Now this employee entity type is called as owner entity or identifying entity, and this has relationship type is called as identifying relationship. Alright, so that is identifying relationship and this is owner entity. Now the participation of a weak entity type in the identifying relationship always has to be total participation. Why? So the participation of weak entity type in the identifying relationship has to be total because let us say if these two are not related to any entity in the employee entity type, then what happens? The problem remains the same. We will be unable to again uniquely identify entities of the dependent entity type. Right, so the problem is not solved. So in order to solve our problem, the participation of dependent entity type has to be total in has relationship. Okay, which means that every dependent should participate in this relationship. That is the identifying relationship type. Alright, I hope now it is clear. Alright, so now let us say, now we define the concept of partial key. What is a partial key is? A partial key is the set of attributes that are used to uniquely identify weak entities that are related to the same owner entity. Okay. Let us say employee can have many dependents and employee cannot have any dependent. Okay. So the participation of employee in has is not total. Not every employee needs to have a dependent. Logical, right? Does every employee have? Is it necessary for every employee to have a dependent? No, it is not necessary. There can exist an employee who does not have any dependent, but if there exists a dependent, he has to relate it to the corresponding employee. Okay, so let us say he has the employee with SSN 101 has another dependent whose name is B and who is also brother. Maybe the date of birth is also same. Alright. Now if the requirement says that there cannot exist two dependents of the same employee with the same name, then name can be called as the partial key. Why? Partial key is the set of attributes that are used to uniquely identify weak entity related to the same owner entity. So these two weak entities are related to the same owner entity and the name attribute is used to uniquely identify these two entities. Okay, so if I say 101A, it means this entity only. Why? Because A cannot be repeated, because we have already specified that the name of the dependent belonging to a particular employee cannot be the same. Okay, so 101A will be able to identify this entity uniquely, and if I say 101B, then it will be able to identify this entity uniquely. Alright, but for this to be differentiated from this, we need the owner entity type, okay, which is 103 SSN, right? So in order to identify each entity uniquely, what do we have to specify? We have to specify an attribute from employee, and we also have to specify an employee attribute from partial key from here. In worst case, what will be the partial key? The combination of all the attributes. Okay, let us say the name of a person belonging depending on a particular employee is not unique. That means an employee can have two dependents with the same name, or many dependents with the same name, or all the dependents with the same name. Then in that case, we have to take all the attributes combined with SSN in order to identify each dependent uniquely. Now I hope this is clear. Let us say now, if in that case, to identify each entity in dependent relationship uniquely, we have to specify 101A, brother, 3 Jack, right, 6. If this is repeated, what does it mean? The same employee has two dependents having both are brother and both the date is same, which is not possible, which is a kind of redundancy. Alright, so this is the concept of weak entity type. Let me now write down the definition of partial key. Okay, so the partial key a set of attributes used to uniquely identify weak entities related to the same owner entity. Now let us see how to represent this in the form of ER diagram. Alright. Okay. So there is an entity employee and there is an entity dependent. Now employee relationship is has. Now since it is identifying relationship, in order to specify it, what we do is we represent it using like this. Okay, double line, diamond, or whatever you may call it. So we represent it like that. And also the dependent, this entity is weak entity type. So we represent it like this. Okay. And also the participation of weak entity type in the identifying relationship is total. So this is the case. And also we can mention the cardinality. An employee can have many dependents. Is it clear? Or I should again explain. Okay. So what is the cardinality of this? How many maximum relationship instances it can participate in? A dependent can have just one corresponding employee. It is not that a dependent can be one dependent belongs to two different employees. It is not possible. So the cardinality of this is 1. And one employee can have many dependents, and it can participate in n relationship instances at a time. So cardinality of this is n. And while writing it, we cross change it. So 1 this side and n this side. Alright. So this is how we represent identifying relationships in ER diagram. Now let us talk about attributes to relationship types. Okay. Okay, so the relationship types also can have attributes. For example, let us say if employee works for the department and I want to record the date on which the employee has started working for a department. So I will include that attribute on the relationship type works for. What was the relationship type works for? It was like this: employee works for department. Alright, and this side and 1 this side. Alright, so now the works for, I want to even record the start date, which is the date on which the employee has started working for the department. This is the case of n:1 relationship. Now whenever we have n:1 relationship or 1:1 relationship, it is possible to migrate the attribute to relationship type to one of the participating entity types, which means we can migrate this attribute which is on the relationship type to one of the participating entity types. Now in case of n:1 relationship, we have to migrate, not we have to migrate only on the n side. Why? Okay, so an employee can work for at most one department. So for every employee we can just maintain the start date like this, when he has started working for that particular department. On the contrary, if we migrate start date to this, and a department can have many employees, so this will become a multi-valued attribute. Why? Because a department can have many employees, so it has to record the start date of many employees when each employee has started to work for that particular department. So in order to avoid it, we migrate start date to this side, because an employee can work for at most one department, and for every employee we record the start date for which it has started working for the particular department. Alright, so in case of n:1 relationship, the attribute of the relationship type is always migrated to the n side. Alright, so now in case of 1:1 relationship, which was employee manages department. Alright, this was 1:1 relationship. You can cross check by going back. Now, employee management department. Now we want to record the start date at which the employee has started to manage the department. What we do now, if this is the start date, we can migrate it to anyone. In 1:1 relationship, we can migrate this attribute of the relationship type to any one of the participating entity types. Alright, because an employee will only manage one department at max. Alright, so it can just record the start date. Also, a department can at max have only one manager, so it can also record the start date. So in 1:1 relationship, we can migrate the attribute of relationship type to any of the participating entity types. Alright, now let us look about what happens in case of m:n relationship type. What was the example of m:n relationship type? Employee works on project. Is it visible? Yes. Employee works on project, and I think it was total participation both sides. Whichever way it is, if it is m:n relationship, then what if I want to record the start date on which a particular employee has started working for a particular project? If I migrate it to this side, employee side, what will happen is an employee is working for multiple projects. So for every project, it has to maintain the start date on which it has started working for that particular project. So it will be a multi-valued attribute. Again, if we migrate it to the project entity type, what will happen is a project can be worked upon by many employees. So for every employee, it has to maintain the start date at which the employee has started working on the project. So both ways it will be a multi-valued attribute. So what we do is, we do not migrate the attribute of the relationship type to any of the participating entity types. We just let it remain as it is, right? We let it remain like that. What will happen to this, we will see later when we come to talking about a relational model and all. But as of now, just remember that in case of m:n relationship type, the attribute of the relationship type remains there and is not migrated to any of the participating entity types, right? So that was about the attributes to relationship types. Alright, so I have written down all the notations that are required, ER diagram notations. You can just pause the video and copy it, and just this particular notation has been left, and we are going to be discussing the spin max representation in the next video. And other than that, we have discussed everything, and this derived attribute is normal. Okay, so just pause the video and note it down. Hopefully in the next video we'll be completing ER model. And thank you for watching, and press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more such videos. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye.